Hello everyone. Today we are going to cover infrastructure as a service solution, and uh, I am Shadab Hasan. I have 14 years of experience, and I'm Microsoft certified trainer. And you can visit the below link if you need any kind of help, or you want to just check this video on YouTube or anything help. You can contact us. So, what we are going to cover in this topic, we'll be provisioning virtual machine in the Azure, and I will be deploying the using the Azure Resource Manager template, creating container image, and we'll be pushing the container image to the Docker registry and the Docker Hub as well. And then we'll see how the container images can be created and can be instantiated. All those things we'll be covering it here. So first of all, what gives you in the provisioning of the virtual machine? Till now, what we have covered platform as a services topic till now. And in that, we have provisioned the web app and Cosmos DB, storage account, and we have covered logic app and the function app. These are the topics which we have covered till now. So those are the platform as a services. Now we'll be covering that how to provision the virtual machine and how to use those, and what level of access you will be getting it here. Okay. So coming to the virtual machine creation. So before creating virtual machine, you should understand that how the network configuration will be done, what the name you have to give to your virtual machine, which location you have to deploy your application or VM, what will the sizing, what will the pricing, how you will manage the storage, and what operating system you will be using. So these are the checklist which you should be aware of, and based on that you will be going to define your virtual machine. So first of all, it tells that how you can do the naming convention for the virtual machine. So this is the some rules which has been given. Okay, so like this, you can have that, like if you have the virtual machine which is deployed to the dev environment. Okay, so you can name those virtual machine, like it's dev machine, where the location is deployed, which is the instance number, what services it is hosting, or it's web, SQL, messaging, like that you can define. Okay, so what you can do, like you can name some your server like dev. Okay, it's development server, it's deployed in US East. Okay, and then you can have that it's like web server. Okay, VM01. So like this, you can give the naming convention for your virtual machine. Okay. Next, coming to this, there are pricing module which we talks about, that there is two main pricing module which comes for the VM whenever you create a VM. There is a storage and the compute. Okay, what is this storage? Okay, a storage means like you are creating your virtual machine. Okay, and you are storing your hard disk somewhere in the storage account. Okay, so that you will be defining it here. Okay, so you have to pay for some of the storage cost, which will be like you will be charged separately. Okay, uh, like when the VM is stopped and it's deallocated, still you will be charged for those storage account. Next comes the compute. Okay, compute says that till how many hours your virtual machine is running. Okay, and the running time you will be paying the compute cost. Okay, so you can do like this. If let's suppose that your costing for one VM monthly is like $100, so means you will be paying for 1 month, 30 days, and 24 hours. Okay, so how you can save the cost here? Like you can shut down your VM in the night time, not the production server, but yes, if you have the development server, development VM associated with your developer, So those you can shut down and you can save the compute cost. But yes, production will be always running. So production, you will be paying the compute cost for 30 days and 24 hours. So those will be the compute cost. And this is the your storage cost and compute cost. Again, you have the some data disk associated with that, will be storing your data in the storage account. So that again, it will be charged. Okay, we'll see that how you can do that, and there'll be managed disk, unmanaged disk, which we have covered during a storage account. So those are also comes here. Next, there is a two payment option which comes pay as you go, and another is reservation. If you say pay as you go, means whatever you are using, that you will be charged for that. Okay, so this is not for the longer term, or you want to use for one day and then you shut down. So that you will be coming as a pay as you go. Reserve instance means you are saying the Microsoft, like I want to use for 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, some contractual discussion which you went through and you accepted those things. So you will be saving something around 70 to 80% cost depending on the reserved instance what you are purchasing from the Microsoft. So these are the VM pricing model which is there. Coming to the storage, because again, when you have the storage account and you need to store your disk, you can store two ways. One is a standard and one is premium. Generally, when you might have seen when we have created a storage account, there are premium option and the standard. But premium is only allowed for production workload, and this gives you only to store a page blob, okay, which you can store your disk. Okay, so that basically designed for your production workload, and you want to store your VHD in the premium storage. Okay, again, there is a standard pricing tier which offers you, which you can store your file, you can store your blob. Also, you have the option for disk as well. Okay, so these are the options. Next, you have the unmanaged and managed. Okay, if you talk about the like unmanaged means you will be managing your disk by your own. Means you have your storage account created and you store your VHD file inside your storage account, and you are responsible for managing that data. Another is managed disk, which will be the provided by Microsoft. Okay, so like this disk will be managed by the Microsoft. Okay, so what is the difference? Why we have to go for managed and when we have to go for the unmanaged? Okay, so there is a difference in IOPS. Okay, input output operation. So when you are in the managed disk, the Microsoft only supports up to 20,000 IOPS. Okay, 20,000 input output operation, which Microsoft support for unmanaged disk. Okay, this is fine till you have something called 40 virtual hard disk stored in your machine and which is getting operated. Okay, but if you go for more workload, then it will have the challenge in supporting in unmanaged disk. Okay, storage is not a problem because storage you will get sufficient storage, but you will be having the issue with the input output operations in the unmanaged. Managed means Microsoft managed, you will get a storage. So where the Microsoft is managing, if it's increasing more than IOPS, then Microsoft internally distribute into the different storage account and managed it. So you will not have the challenging in the workload or input output operation. So in managed disk, where the Microsoft having the responsibility to distribute your disk in such a way that you will not have the issue with the IOPS. So that covers here. Next, you have the manage and manage disk. It's saying the same thing, that manage disk, the Azure platform manages the disk and backing up a storage. You don't have to worry about the storage limit and threshold. Okay. Again, here you manually create a manage virtual hard disk in your storage account. You will need to consider your account throughput and capacity limit when using this module. Okay, so if you have the something like you do not go more than 20,000 input output operation, then you can go ahead. And if you have the maximum 40 standard VHDs, okay, in the full utilization, that's fine. But if you go more than 40, then you will be having the performance issue. Okay, so either you have to create another storage account and distribute your VHD in the proper way, or you need to do that. Okay, so that's your responsibility. Next, it's saying that Microsoft Virtual Machine creation and management. So we can create a multiple ways, like you can go ahead and create an Azure portal, okay, which we'll see. Another thing, that ARM template. Okay, so that gives you the template in the JSON format, which you can modify based on your requirement, and you can use for automation. Like if you want to use to deploy virtual machine using DevOps, so you can use ARM template and you can use it. Another feature, you have the PowerShell. Okay, you can write PowerShell script, and you can create your virtual machine using the PowerShell. Next, you have the Azure CLI. Okay, so another thing which you can use Azure CLI to create Azure resources and manage. Next, another thing which tells that programmatically APIs. Okay, so we have the Azure PowerShell and CLI, which you can do the coding as per your custom, and you can do that. So this is the way we have to create in virtual machine. Okay, I'll just let's go to the portal and we'll see how we can create a virtual machine. Okay, I'm just creating a resource group here. Day 5, ESTS2. This is the resource group. This is the collection of your resources. Okay, I can go to the, you can search here, virtual machine, add virtual machine. Okay, I can select my resource group here. I can give the name of virtual machine, VM1. Okay, I'm creating in ESTS2. I'll discuss this later on. I'm leaving it as it is as of now. Availability options. There is 2 availability option. You get availability zone and set. Will come this on later on. Image, I am taking Windows Server 2019 data center. Okay. This is the size of your my VM which I am selecting. You can always go ahead and change the size of the VM. Okay. There are some different sizing tier which is available: general purpose, premium, and we'll come to that later on. I'll tell you. Then we'll put the username and password, which will help in to the logging into the this is the port which you have to give access to that. Okay, so I'm giving HTTP. Like if you are hosting web application, you should allow HTTP, HTTPS. This is the RDP port which is required to connect the server, and then you have SSH port. Okay, and here you see, if you have the license, Again, it's for giving you the 49% license benefit. Okay, so just go to next. Okay, so by default it's creating a premium SSD disk, okay, to store the operating system related data. Okay, next. So here you can see the networking related concept which comes here. Okay, so you may be aware about the NSG, network security group. Okay, so basically what happens, you define the network security group here. Okay, and that will be having NIC, network interface card, attached to that. Okay, and you will be defining inbound and outbound rules for the your virtual machine. Okay, so this is the part you will be seeing later on. And next, boot diagnostic we can okay, and then next. And then create. So virtual machine, if you are creating a virtual machine, it doesn't create alone. Okay, there are a few things which will be created with the virtual machines. Okay, so we'll be discussing about this. So let's see what all will be get created with the virtual machine. Okay, so you can see here there is a IP address, public IP, there is a NSG. Okay, VNet has been created, then you have the network interface card. Okay, so these are the, and another thing will be coming like your disk. Okay, and your virtual machine. So these are the resources which will be created along with your virtual machine. Okay, let it get created. Okay, so here you have the virtual network. Okay, deployment is completed. Okay, first is the virtual network, then you have virtual machine, public IP, network security group, network interface. This is a small chip which will be holding your communication, and then this is the OS disk. Okay, so let's go to the NSG. Okay, network security group. Okay, so you can see here, it's all inbound and outbound rule has been defined here. So your network security group is responsible. It's like a small firewall kind of thing, okay, which will hold your inbound and outbound security group information for your virtual machine. Okay, you can use this NSG for your subnet or and for the one virtual machine or a group of virtual machine within one subnet. Okay, so when you go to NSG, you can go to inbound security rule and outbound security rule, and you can define those things. Okay, I can go here and I can add here new inbound rule. Okay, and source could be the any. Okay, let's put service tag, and then I'm expecting the request from internet, and destination will be anything. Port number I am allowing for 80. Already 80 is allowed. Again, I am putting 80 here. Okay. I want protocol on it. TCP action is allow. Okay, I'm setting the priority. Okay, what is the priority? Priority means lesser priority will be higher priority. Here you can see the port 80 is having the priority is 320. If I set my priority to 100, so this inbound rule will be applied first. Okay, so the priority will be lesser, then it will be having the higher weightage. Port 80, my rule. Okay, so here you are creating another rule on port 80. Okay, port 80 you have one HTTP rule, another I am allowing on port 80, which will be sourced from internet. This is from any. So like that you can define your rule and you can configure. So this is your NSG. Okay, and this will be the internet facing traffic which we will be allowing. Okay, next you can go to the VNet, and then this is your network interface in networking. Connected device. See, this is your network interface card, which is giving you. I want to go to machine, and then you have networking, and then comes here. Okay, I want to show one topology here, but it's not active as of now. There is topology here comes, which you showing in the complete diagram of your network actually. That's fine. Okay, so what happened actually, your VM is connected with your network security group. Okay, let me draw the diagram. Okay. So this is your VM. This is your VM, okay? And you have your network interface card, okay? Then you have your IP. Then you have your IP inside your subnet. Okay, then you have another your, like this is your VNet. This is the diagram actually, and one will be your public IP. Here. Okay, and this is your private IP above one. Okay, and here you have NSG. So your VM is connected with NIC. NSG is connecting with NIC. Public IP is connecting with NIC, and this is having one IP address inside your VNet. Okay, so whenever the request comes to your public IP, okay, it goes and checks into the network interface card. Network interface card is a small chip which will be storing all the information, and NIC will go to NSG and it will check the rule inside the NSG, and then it will allow the VM to access. Okay, and this NIC will be holding one IP inside your subnet, and subnet will be having the one IP inside your VNet. So this is the topology which will be architecture which will be coming for your virtual machine. Okay, so request is coming to the public IP and which will go to NIC, and NIC will check in NSG, and NSG will authorize that to access your VNet based on your inbound, outbound rules. So this is your virtual machine structure. Okay. Another thing, I'll show you one thing. Virtual machine skill set. Virtual machine skill set. So now what we have done, we have created only one virtual machine. Okay. Now in virtual machine skill set gives you feature to create a multiple virtual machine in a single shot. Okay. And load balancer, replication, disk management, everything will be maintained by the Microsoft. Okay, let's create a virtual machine scale set. I'm just creating another, keep it separate, define one. Okay, my VM set. I'm just choosing EastUS. Okay, I'm just taking Windows 2016 data center. Okay, size I have taken. And next, okay, here we're defining the SSD disk. Next, this is the networking, use a load balancer, you can define it here. See here, it's giving the initial instance count. Okay, what is this? Okay, if you're saying initial instance count means you will be defining here how many virtual machines you need at the when we starting the machine. Okay, I can say I need 3. Okay, and then next, boot dynasty off. Next. Okay, I have requested Microsoft to create a 3 instance. Okay, let's see.
Is the 3 missions are in a same identical, or is there any differences there?
Yes, we'll come to it. It will be identical. Okay, it will be same virtual machine which will be Microsoft is maintaining. Okay, instance creation, replication, disk management, network management, load balancer, and configuration. Everything is managed by Microsoft. Okay, let it get created.
Is that created 3 virtual machines, or in one virtual machine you have created 3 instances?
No, it will create 3 virtual machine.
Oh, okay.
It's getting created. Okay, but I have asked 3. You can see here Microsoft is creating 6 for me. There is a magic. Any guess why it's happening? Okay, so this is the diagram which I want to show in the previous one. So we have the virtual network, VNet. Okay, VNet will be having the subnet. Subnet will be having your NIC chip card. NIC chip card will be here. You will have the skill sheet, but there it was not. But you will be having VM, and you have the network security configured for that. But you can see here, Microsoft is creating 6 for me, and so what happens in the background actually? Requirement is completed. You can go to instance and you can see here it's creating 6. Still it's in progress. Okay, so but my skill set is ready. Okay, a skill set is ready. It's creating 6 instance. Why is creating 6 instance? Because Microsoft don't want to like it's creating 6 for me, and whichever will create faster and healthy will be a stay here. Other will go off. Okay, other will be deleted automatically. So Microsoft gives a like guarantee, like will be creating your 3 virtual machine, but will be creating more than that, and whichever will create it faster and uh, stay healthy. Okay, so that will be staying here. Other will go off. So that will happen here. Okay, so what happened? One more thing, if you go to disk, you can see here one disk is there. Okay, what is this disk? This is actually a backup disk for you. Okay, whenever you go and you ask them to create few more, like currently I created 3, I want to create 2 more, and then Microsoft doesn't go and disturb the existing running virtual machine. It directly take this OS disk and spin up your virtual machine. Okay, so this is the backup disk which will be created by default. So you will be having like the virtual machine disk separately, 3 disk for virtual machine. Like I have asked for 3, so there will be 3 disk plus 1 backup disk will be created here. Okay, in a scale set. Uh, Another question, like how much instance we can create? Okay, by default we can create up to 100. Okay, 100 VMs we can create inside one scale set, but if we need more, we can ask Microsoft and we can go up to 1000 VM inside one scale set.
Shadab, once
Yeah,
we create the virtual machine, after virtual scale set, after that, can we increase or add another 2 or 3? Is there any
yeah,
possibility?
you can do that. This is the scaling here. You can always go and change here.
Okay.
100 is the maximum it's allowing me here, but if I need more, we can ask them to Microsoft. We can ask them. We can go up to 1000 here. It's taking time to provision though.
I think the scale down is also possible. I think
Yeah, yeah,
Some,
yeah. We
sometimes
can
we
change
need.
it here itself. We can change it here. We can change it to 1. I need 1, so they will delete that one. Again, you can change the size of the virtual machine. You can, if you want to change your sizing, you can go ahead and change the sizing as well here. So what happens, like when the instance is created, you can go to, still it's not ready actually. So if I want to do any changes in my one virtual machine, I can go and re-image. There you can see here, there's an option called re-image here. Okay, so what re-image will give, you want to change any of the virtual machine, okay, to want to do a any setting or anything inside the virtual machine, you can do a reimage or you can change. What will happen after changing this in the VM? It will go and update this disk, and after this is updated, this disk will be updated to the other virtual machine. Okay, so it will not go and directly do a VM to VM, or it will not take the data from the existing VM. This OS disk will be updated, and based on this OS disk, other virtual machine will be created. So this is the feature you will get from the virtual machine skill set.
So will the data, if we'll do the reimage, will the data will be there or it will be?
Yeah,
If
data
we,
will be there. Data will be stored in the like you can create a different data disk. Basically this is the OS disk which is be associated inside that. Anyhow, you can attach always your data disk in that, like BHD. You can create your BHD, you can store in your storage disk or in managed disk, that will be separately stored. Okay, this basically created a OS disk.
okay.
Okay,
So where we'll go and set up the data disk?
data disk, we can go ahead with the VM and we can attach another data disk.
Okay.
So in the VMS skill set, what features you will get from the Microsoft, like you don't like instance creating. Okay, whenever you go, you create an instance that will be created, and then replication between the all the VMs. Okay, disk management, network management, load balancer management, and configuration. All this you will get inside one VMS skill set. That's the feature you will get from this skill set. Okay, so this is about the skill set. Next, it's there is a PowerShell command which has been given here. Like you can connect your virtual machine, or you can create your virtual machine using PowerShell. So you always having the provision to create a virtual machine using the PowerShell. So there is a multiple ways to go through that. You have here, you can see in the Azure portal, you have the um, command line interface is given. You can always change your bash to PowerShell, and you can do here, as well as you can install your PowerShell on your system. Okay. PowerShell, and you can run the command here. Okay. So this you can connect using AZ connect, and then you can create your resource group here. Okay, and this is the command which will create your virtual machine. You are providing the resource. First, you have to create resource group, and you'll be providing resource group name, then virtual machine name. You'll be providing location, network, subnet, network security group, and IP address, and what port you want to open. So that you will provide. So based on that, it will be created. Okay, so you can do it through the PowerShell. Okay, either through the PowerShell command, or you can go to the uh, uh, Azure command line interface, and you can do that. Now 3 has came. So you can see here now 3 is resource has been created. Okay, so if I increase with 5, I'll just go and save. What happens again? It will start creating instance. So this 3 will be as it is running. See, I have asked for 2 extra, but it is calculated at 3. Okay, this 3, 2 will be remain there and 1 will go off. So that happens. So whichever will be done faster will be stay there, otherwise other will go. So that will happen in the skill set. So this is the another thing which I want to show here. So this is the PowerShell command which you should know. Okay, to create a resource group and all. Accessing Azure VM using the PowerShell, again you can have the option to access your virtual machine using PowerShell. Okay, this is the capturing performance diagnostics for your VM. Okay, so this gives you feature to get your diagnostics. Okay, so I have not enabled that diagnostics in while creating. So again, you have the feature to run a diagnostic, which you like performance insights. Okay, so that gives you the feature to get a insight of your virtual machine, and gives you like it will be giving you the CPU usage, disk space, memory, and all those information you will be getting in the log. Uh, Next, recovery and the failover, how you will do that. Okay, let's suppose that your one virtual machine has been failed. Okay, you have only one virtual machine and which has gone failed, and basically your OS disk and data disk is stored inside your storage account. Okay, so what you can do, you can stop your failed VM and take a snapshot of your VM OS disk. Okay, and then you attach that VM into the create a temporary VM and attach that VM inside your virtual machine. Okay, so that you will be started running, and you will not be having the issue with the, there'll be some downtime for that, but yes, you will be able to achieve that. Okay, another thing which you can do, like
I didn't
uh,
able to follow Sadab. Can you just repeat that what you're explaining here?
correct. So like if you have a virtual machine, okay, so which has been failed. Okay, so what happens, like you have only one virtual machine which gone down due to the some issue on the hardware or anything. Okay,
Mm.
so you have the snapshot. You have to take the snapshot of the failed VM. Okay, and then you create another VM, like temporary VM, and attach your data disk. Basically, everything is stored in your data. Okay, data disk VHD file. Okay, that is stored inside your storage account. Correct. So you can connect your data disk with the new VM, and you can start working with that.
Oh, this makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Correct. Another thing you have, like how we can migrate your on-premises machine to Azure. Okay, so here the same thing comes, like you might remember there is a AZ copy which I have shown you the command during the storage account creation. Okay, so if you have any VM running the locally, okay, so you can create a .vsd file and upload into the storage account. So from your local infrastructure, you take the snapshot of your machine, create a .vsd file, and do a copy command, AZ copy command to the Azure storage account, and then you attach that VM to the virtual machine. That comes in the lift and shift migration when you do for the small workload. Okay, so that you can do it. So that is the one another way to move your on-premises infrastructure to Azure. Okay, so rather than specifying the like power and all those things, like you can like sizing a VM. Each VM size offers a variant of following characteristics: processing power, memory. Okay, so this actually tells you like how to choose your VM. Okay, so VM sizing comes in the picture, like VM. There is a VM like computation performance, memory performance, disk storage, networking. So based on that, you have the there are so many VM category available with the virtual machines. Okay, so there are some entry level, general purpose, compute, memory optimized, CPU optimized, and storage optimized. Also, you have something called Cray and SAP virtual machine, which can be created. So you can see here the general purpose VM is like CPU to memory ratio will be ideal, like for testing and development process. Again, if you have the compute, so there'll be something high level of virtual machine you'll be getting. Then you have the memory optimized virtual machine, where the memory has been optimized. Okay, so that you will be getting it here. Okay, Next is high performance, like if you need more faster, more powerful, so those you will be getting. So these are the category which you will be getting from the virtual machine, which you can categorize, or you can select their size based on your requirement. So these are coming here, like whenever you want to do the changes, this is like a scaling, and then this comes sizing. Okay, this is the sizing which is coming here. Okay, you have the D series, B series. Okay, so these are the something which you can always select, and you can change high throughput if you have, or storage optimized, you can see here. This is saying the compute optimized. Okay, so these are the virtual machine which has been created already for you, and it has been created something like you have the sizing, VM, or memory defined out of that, and you can always go ahead and select by default from them. Okay, so next is comes availability. Okay, so you may be talking about like how, if we are creating a virtual machine, how we have to deploy our virtual machine. Okay, so generally what happens when you create availability set and availability zone. Okay, there comes here. Okay, so you have the availability set defines. So what is availability set? So it protect against failure within the data center. And then you have availability zone. It is across the data center, like you have the two data deploying on the multiple data center, and then you have the region pairing. Okay, so you will be pairing the two region. Okay, so I'll just show you here. Okay, let's suppose. Okay, and then you create here your web application. You have the service layer. Okay, I'm just not this is completely infrastructure services which I'm trying to design here. Okay, so here you have the web layer. Okay, web 1, and then you have service layer, and then you have a database. So now let's suppose I need to deploy my application here in the virtual machine, and which will be connected to the service, and then it's connected to the database. Okay, so I have to, there Microsoft provides you something called fault domain and update domain. Okay, so fault domain and update domain means whenever any failure happens in one rack, there'll be no maintenance or nothing down on the other rack. Okay, so there is a fault domain, and then if it's let's suppose that some update is happening in one resource, there'll be no update will happen on other rack. So Microsoft have defined their data center in such a way, like there'll be minimum 2 fault domain and 20 update domain will be configured inside the data center. Okay, so I'll just show you practically here. You can go and search for availability set, create availability set here. Day 5. Okay, I'm giving my availability set East US 2. Okay, see here the fault domain. Fault domain means this is the physical network. Like this network will be completely separate from your power or networking. So everything will be separate. You can define up to 3. Okay, some region it's not 3, minimum it will be 2. Okay, so if I'll take Asia Pacific, somewhere it will be 2. East US it will be 3. Okay, so 2 or 3 you get a fault domain. Okay, so let's define. I have selected 2. This is the update domain. Update domain means whenever they are running any patch or any update is happening on the operating system, you can define this update domain up to 20. So in this diagram, you can see here, this is the fault domain 1, fault domain 2. There are 3 fault domain and you have the multiple update domain. So 0 is here, update domain 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 4 is here, 5 is here. Like that, it will be distributed across the fault domain. Okay. So this you can define. There'll be no price for this availability set. You can use this availability set as per your requirement, and you can use this. Only one thing: once the VM is created, you can't attach this to availability set. First, you have to create your availability set, and then you have to create a VM and then link your virtual machine with this availability set. So that you have to do. Okay, let's create. Okay, so this is the availability set I have created. Now, if I'll go for virtual machine, okay, I just wanted to create a virtual machine, add a virtual machine. Okay, and then my VM1, and then you have here option to select availability set. When I select availability set, I'm getting my availability set here. So what happens when I'm creating a VM1, where it will go? Where it will go in the availability set 1, fault domain 1 or update domain 1. So your VM, when you create first VM, it will go and create into the, by default, it could be anything. Okay, just if you can guess, like it will be go and create in fault domain 0, and it will place your application, your server in update domain 0. Okay, so this virtual machine is placed inside your fault domain 0 and update domain 1. When you go and create another virtual machine, it will go and place your virtual machine in fault domain 1 and update domain 2. When you go and create your third virtual machine, it will go and create in fault domain 3, fault domain 2, and update domain. Yeah, it could be anything. Here I have okay. When I go, now we have only 3 fault domain, and update domains are more. What happens if I create another virtual machine? Okay, if I create another virtual machine, it will go and deploy my virtual machine maybe in any fault domain. It's possible. Okay, it will be fault domain 0, 1, 2, 3, because we have only fault domain 3 fault domain available. It could be in fault domain 1. Okay, and maybe update domain will be 3. Okay, so Microsoft internally will manage this thing. You will not be having rights to put your virtual machine inside any fault domain or update domain. So this is the concept which comes here. Okay, so this is the first virtual machine I am putting in availability set this. So you just select availability set and you just configure those things, and it will be deployed inside your update domain and fault domain. So this is inside one data center actually. So this you are defining the protection against the failure of your rack or failure of any of the infrastructure in your data center. Okay. Next comes the availability zone. What is availability zone? Here you can select the availability zone here. Okay, so see, you get 1, 2, 3. So inside the East US, you have the 3 different data center available in the East US too. So I want to deploy this virtual machine in the first data center. Next, when I create number 2 VM, I'll go and select I want to put this into the data center second. When I create a virtual machine 3, I'll say that I want to put this in the availability zone 3. So they'll be separate, data center in the zone. Okay. So if one data center failure, you still have the 2 data center available. Availability zones are not available in the every region actually. When you go here, you will not get a availability zone available in the Asia Pacific or somewhere. You have only availability set. So it depends. So any doubt till now? Availability set, availability zone, or you have understood properly?
Yes, so this update domain and the fault domain, Sadab, I have one question. So do we need to define fault domain more so that it will be beneficial somewhere, or it is not like that? Or what
Okay.
is this?
Fault domain, you can't define more than 2 or 3. It's Microsoft is only giving maximum 2 somewhere, and somewhere it's 3. So you have only 2 or 3 option.
What about update domain?
Update domain will be 20. 20, every region you have the 20. Now let's go to again availability set, which I have created. And
Suppose we are going to create only 2, 3 virtual machines. So what will be the recommend uh, update zone? Yeah.
okay. See, when I went to create a availability set, okay. Okay. See, if I'm creating in East US, I'm getting option to put 3 fault domain. Okay. So they have the 3, you can say it's a separate rack available inside the data center.
Okay.
This rack is nowhere linked with here. Network is separate, power is separate. So whatever is needed for that rack to being not available or available, it's completely separate from these two.
Okay.
So this will be having separate power, separate network, separate every infrastructure, everything covered. This is nowhere linked. So East US, you will get a 3 this. If I say I want to deploy in Asia, you have only 2. So here we have only 2 infrastructure available with me in the data center. So we have only 2 racks, or you can say 2 separate zones available here, which is nowhere linked together in terms of data, network, or anything. Okay, so if this rack is going down, or this is going down here, you have available, and this is still available with you.
Okay.
So this is called fault domain. Update domain. What is update domain? Like if you go here, we have two racks. Let's suppose the 2 racks, and inside that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Microsoft have defined like I have 20 update domain available. Okay. So means when I'm going to update this, I'll not update this. When I'm going to update this, I'll not update this. So like that, they have defined 20 update domain. So only one will go in the maintenance at a time. So if my VM is placed here, okay, and one VM is placed here, one VM is placed here. Let's suppose that this update is going on. This update domain is not getting updated. Only update domain 1 is getting updated. Second, third, fourth is not updating that right now. So only one server is impacted as of now.
Okay.
But still, I can serve with the another 2 servers. Is that clear?
It makes sense, yeah. But how will come to know whether which one is going, means based on the server availability, or will get some thing this
See,
server?
you don't have control in putting your virtual machine in the specific update domain or fault domain. Okay. So you just say that I want to put in the this much fault domain and this much update domain I need. Okay. And just you create and you just link your virtual machine with this update availability set. Microsoft it's responsibility to put where in this fault domain or update domain.
Okay.
For sure, if you have the three web application or web server, so they'll not put in the same update domain or fault domain.
Because their algorithm will be like that, so if one
Correct.
is failure,
So
that
let's suppose that this is my application and we have the infrastructure created like this is the service layer, this is the web layer, and this is the DB layer. So what do you think? How many update domain we need or how many fault domain we need? So we need to create a 3 availability set. Correct.
correct.
One for this, one for this, one for this. Okay. Because if you create one availability set, you will not know that Microsoft will put all this in the one set. It's possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So to keep it separate, you create your web application layer in one availability set, the service layer in one availability set, and DB layer in one availability set. So your Microsoft will put in this one first one, this one is the second one, this will be third one. So this will be one set. This is the second set. This is third set. So like that you have to create.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the one concept of ability zone. Next, you have ability zone, which I have already told that ability zones you have to define when you are creating a virtual machine. Okay, like when you are creating a virtual machine, you define that which virtual machine you want to put in first availability zone, second availability zone, and third availability zone. That you can define it here. I'll go for ESTS. I'll get availability zone, and then you'll defining this is a 3 data center available in East US. So you're putting your in the different data center. So you are completely secure in terms of data center. So if data center failure happens, you are still safe. Your virtual machine is in a different data center. So coming to the next. This is like different like images available with the in Azure Marketplace, which you can use to create your virtual machine. Okay, so as we have seen here, when we go for the virtual machine creation, it asks for images. What image you need? Okay, so you can create your virtual machine with Ubuntu, Red Hat. Okay, so Oracle. So there are multiple things available. If you don't have in the list, you can still go and browse from your marketplace, and you have the specific images available for your virtual machine. Okay, so if I want to go for integration, I can go ahead and find out the multiple images available with you. I can directly take that images and I can create my virtual machines. Okay, so if I want my SQL Server virtual machines, I want something specific, so I can go ahead and search here in the marketplace. I'll be able to do that. Okay, database related, you will have the something called SQL Server. Yeah, SQL Server 2016, SP1, SP2. So whatever you need in your virtual machine, you can go ahead and select. So this is what it covers here. Okay, so you can see here there is an image source. Okay, so Windows Server, if you take example, you have the 2012, 2016, 2019, so all these images, and again in the 2017 you have the multiple version available with you, so you can, whatever you want, you can customize that, and whatever you want, you can pull that image and you can update your virtual machine. This is again image unique first resource locator. So you will be having publisher inside the publisher, what the publish, who is the publisher, and then what is the virtual machine available. Okay, so this is the way how we can search the virtual machine. You can go for the publisher wise and the East US location. Publisher, I want Microsoft Windows Server, and then you can define your data center, what data center you need, or what type of server SKU you need. So this is what it was saying, that you have to define publisher, what is the SKU, what is the version. So all you define here, and you can take those images and you can create your virtual machine. So these are some PowerShell command which has been covered here. Okay, so again, this is Azure shared image gallery. You have this is one of the managed global replication of images which is available, and you can use those as a shared image. Okay, VM serial console. Okay, this is the way to connect to virtual machine directly using the PowerShell and command. Okay, another thing which I want to show here, it talks about the Azure template. Okay, so I can go to any of the virtual machine which we have created recently. Okay, so when you go to your virtual machine, you have something called template. Export template. Okay, so this is the Azure Resource Manager template, which is you can just go ahead and download. And if you open this, so this can be used to replicate similar kind of VM, or you can change this whenever you need. Okay, so this can be used for your automation. Okay, so when you open this template, okay, so this is the your JSON format. Okay, so you will be having parameter defined. Parameter is your virtual machine name, disk name, your interface card, and what resources you need to create this virtual machine. So all those resources which you have created out of that, so it's defined here. And you have another parameter file. Okay, so if you want to automate this or deployment, okay, you can pass this parameter from any like DevOps tool. Okay, and then you'll be having this virtual machine created from your DevOps. Okay, so you can create, you can automate, and the virtual like you can upload in the GitHub, and then you can use this template to create your multiple virtual machine, and that will be fast as well. Okay, instead of going in the portal and creating it, so you can automate those things here using this PowerShell script. ARM template, sorry.
Or can I use this one and from this portal also, instead of going configuration, and we can import this one and do that? or it's not
Yeah,
possible?
anyhow, you can do that. You can deploy here as well. There's the option comes here. You can do the modification and you can create deploy. So it will deploy your changes.
No, suppose I created one virtual machine and I want to create the another virtual machine. Instead of going the all the steps, if I want to download this one and do that, is it possible?
Yeah, that can be done. Okay, so here you just define your network name and virtual machine, and you can just edit the template and you can create another one. That's possible here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so here it tells that resource manager like ARM template, which you can use in the PowerShell, CLI in Azure portal. Okay, and again, you can use a REST API, client SDK if you have. So anything which you want to use inside this resource manager template, that can be used. Okay. Then you have the terminology, which is saying that the resources, resource group, resource provider, resource manager template. So these are the common terms which you will come across. Okay, so you can see here resource manager template is deployed. So you are creating a resources and then you are putting in the some JSON body and then you are creating it here. And this is the three-tier application which can be achieved with the resource manager template, which is saying that here. Okay, so let's suppose that I want to create a three-tier application, SQL, web application, and virtual machine. All these three you can create a ARM template and you can deploy. Even you can create a nested. Okay, so you can create a parent template. Inside that you can create a three template which will be linked, so one by one it will be created and it will be done using the resource manager template. So this is the showing the resource manager template format. I'll show you this how to create in the this one. So okay, so till now in the virtual machine, any doubt, anything which you want to ask till now? Because now next topic is container, which is more on Docker and uh, how the container image is defined. So those things are there. So till now, anything, any doubt?
So that nothing. I'm clear.
Okay. So moving to the container, what is container and how that has been created? So any idea what is the difference between virtual machine and container? Okay, so if we are coming to the container, actually, whenever we do a virtualization on the virtual machine, actually, we do a virtualization over the physical machine. Like if we have any physical server, okay, like 32 GB RAM and some hard disk, anything you have, and you want to divide that into the 4 VM, what you will do, you do a virtualization on the physical machine and deploy your own OS on the different infrastructure. So you will be managing separately all those things. Okay, so what you will be doing here, you will be creating hardware. Over that you have the operating system, and then your virtual machine is running on top of that operating system, which is having kernel, application, and services deployed. In the container, what happens when you merge your application with the dependent DLLs? Okay, so like if you let's suppose that I want to deploy my .NET code into Linux operating system, how I can do that? Okay, or Linux related application I want to deploy on the Windows application server. Okay, so what happens, like there'll be host operating system and there'll be a container operating system. Okay, so there'll be two operating system, one host operating system which will hold your container. Okay, that should run the container on the host OS, and container will contain your application and dependency. Okay, let's suppose that I have a requirement from my client which is holding a VB code, and that is very long old VB code which has been created, and they want to deploy that code to the Azure. Okay, so some of people will say that we'll go and redesign that application, or will modify that design of application, and then we can move to the Azure. Okay, so another way which you can do, you can container that application. Okay, you can take that VB code, you can club those dependency, and you deploy that application into the uh, container, or you create an image, and that image will be deployed inside the container. Okay, so all the dependency which you have, that you have bundled with that image. Okay, and then you deploy anywhere, that you can float your container on any operating system. So that you will get. So what is the container image? Okay, so you do a development of your container, and you combine, okay, all those your operating system, application code, dependency, and file inside one container image. Okay, and that container image, you have the ability, or you can say that that gives you feature, okay, to deploy on any operating system. Okay, so you don't depend on what operating system it is. Okay, so this is one of the very popular thing which you get from Docker. Okay, so I'll just go to the Docker portal and show you. Okay, so this is Docker Hub. Okay, docker.com. Okay, so this is a very popular thing which you can create your image in the Docker Hub. Okay, this is the Docker Hub which I have created two image here. Okay, so you have the Docker Hub, and you can create your image and you can put it here. Okay, and another thing which you can have a Docker desktop. So you can see here my Docker desktop is running here. Okay, so you can switch to Windows, switch to Linux. Okay, and if you go to the setting, so this Docker desktop is nothing like it's giving me the feature to run my Docker application into my local. Okay, you can see here it's assigned my 2 CPU, 2 GB RAM, and disk allocated. Everything is here. So this is like a small Docker application which will be installed on application. You can search for Docker Windows application, and you can install it here. So what happens when you create your application? Let's see how we can create new project. Okay, just a small question, like if I want to deploy my ASP.NET application, can we run on Linux? The answer will be no. Correct. So what happens? It's using my .NET dependency which will not run on Linux. Okay. If I create like .NET Core application that runs on .NET as Linux as well as the Windows. Okay. So now I'm creating a ASP.NET Core web application. Okay, and click on next. A5 create. Okay, I'm creating a MVC application. See here, it's asking me, do you want to enable the Docker support for this application which you are creating? Okay, this does a small thing which it will add a Docker file in this application, and which will allow me to run this as a Docker. Okay, so I'm selecting as a Linux. What is this? This I want to run this ASP.NET Core application on the Linux operating system. This is the operating system of the container. Okay, so my container, the container which will be created out of this .NET application will run on the Linux. Okay, just create. Another thing, this in Docker, you have the so many images already available, which you can use for your purpose. Okay, like if I want to use my SQL Server image, okay, SQL Server image, you can search here micro SQL Server. Okay, so this already has been created by the Microsoft, and they have put it as a Docker image. Okay, you can use this Docker pull. Okay, and you can use this path, and then you can use this image to create your Docker container anywhere on any operating system. Okay, so this SQL Server can run on any operating system. You can pull this image and you can use it. So that feature you will get from the Docker, or you can say the container. I have selected the Docker support. So what it's giving me, it's giving me the Docker file. Okay, this Docker file, if what it gives, it's saying that this is the ASP.NET 3.1 dependency. Okay, it's using the base class, and then it is having exposed the ATN 443. This is my project, and which will be copied to the day 5 web app. This will be my application will be created in the Docker, and then we'll be building and then you will be creating a working directory, and then it will be copying all the build file, and then it will publish, and that does in the Docker. Okay, see here, I'm getting here option to run in Docker. Okay, I'll just go here and modify something which will be easily to understand. Welcome to I'm just running this. What it does, it actually taking my all dependency, and you can see here this is Docker is running currently it's running on the Linux. Okay, so what is happening, my system is something Windows. On top of that, I have created a Docker is having the Linux operating system currently running. Okay, I can switch to Windows, but currently it's having the uh, operating system which is running Linux, and I am running this application on the Docker, which is the Linux. Is that clear? Any doubt? My host operating system is Windows. My Docker is running on the Linux. Okay, and I am running this ASP.NET on my Docker. So it's doing some packaging, container warming in progress, and it takes time because it's trying to take all the dependency related to the .NET application as per this Docker file, and it will build an image out of that. Okay, by the time it's happening, we'll go back to the Docker portal and I'll show you. Okay, so this is the Docker image which is available like Microsoft SQL Server. Another, I'll show you a small thing which is Radish. If you have heard about the Radish cache. Okay, so this is the Radish image which is available. Okay, official image is available. So I'll just see how we can pull. Okay. So this is the caching DB which is provided by the Radish. So I'll just open my PowerShell. Okay. You can type here Docker version. Okay. It's asked sometime permission when it's building. It's trying to ask some permission. So we just need to give share it. So this is the Docker version which is available in my system. Okay. So this is Docker engine. You have Docker server. So everything is here. Okay. So let's suppose I want to pull image. Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is running on the Docker. Okay. How? I can go to setting. Okay. I don't have the spot here. Okay. So actually what it does here, if I go in the output section, okay. So it's just running all the Docker commands here and trying to get this thing done. Loading the dependency, pulling the just getting the dependency done, and then it's trying to build. Okay. I'll just stop. There is two things which you will understand in coming session. Like I can deploy this in the either in the Docker Hub, in this Docker Hub, or there is something called Azure Container Registry. Okay, there will be Container Registry. So where I need to host, keep these images either in the Azure Container Registry or we can keep in the Docker Hub. Okay. So here it's giving me the option to deploy in Docker Container Registry. Next. Okay, so currently I'm putting the Docker Hub. Okay, you have the option to deploy in Azure Container Registry as well. So I'm putting in Docker Hub. Next. Here it's asking me the password for my Docker. This is Docker password. So here. Okay. So Docker Container Registry and then publish. It will take some time because it has to bundle with my .NET Core framework, DLLs, and it just bundle one application and it will deploy it over there. Okay, let it be there. Okay, so we are seeing this Docker command. Okay, so what I was trying to do, I want to pull this radish image into my Docker registry. Okay, so if I will go here, Docker images, you'll see here we don't have any Docker image, radish image as of now. Okay, so I'll just write here Docker pull. So it will go and pull the latest one because I have not given any versions. There are so many versions available by default. It will put the latest one. Okay, Docker pull radish. So it's pulling the radish image from the Docker Hub. Okay. Next, you can say like Docker run -d. There is a port number we need to give 79:. 6379. This is the Radish port number. By default it takes. Okay, my name. You can see here this command actually creating an image. Okay. This is the Docker image command which displaying the list of image available in this. Okay. Then I'm doing a Docker pull. Okay. Docker pull is pulling the image from the Docker hub, okay, to my local. And then this is the command which will be running my Docker Radish image in my Docker locally Docker on local Docker. Okay, then I run the Docker PS command. Docker PS command display the list of the running images. Okay, so this you can see here, Radish image is running. Okay, then what I can do here, Radish, I'm opening the Radish CLI. So you can see here I am connected to the Radish CLI, which is deployed in my Docker hub. Okay, so I can say ping, I get reply pong. Okay, I can set name. Okay. Name is set. If I put get name, I'm getting Shadab. Okay, what is happening? This Radish is a small cache database which is available in the cloud. Okay, it will be stored as a key value pair which can be used for the caching and everything you can do using the Radish. Okay, so this gives you the feature, and we can use this as a container as well. Okay, so this is what it is. So we just see how we have pulled the image, how we have run the image, how we can list the image, how we can talk to that Docker using the CLI command. Okay. If I'll go here again, if I want to remove this Docker image, you can Docker rm is remove command. Radish one. Okay, you can't remove because it's running. Okay, for such image. Still running, still stop. Okay, so this is the way we have to connect with the Docker. Let's see if it's completed. Okay, you can see here this actually does again, it's building the application which we are planning to deploy in the Docker. It's build the application. It's combined with your .NET DLLs, and it's pushed to my Docker registry. Let's go to the Docker hub and let's see if it has been created here. Okay, you can see here 3 minutes ago, this is my Docker like image. Okay, what I have did, this application plus dependency has created one image in the Docker Hub. I can use this image to create my application, whatever I have deployed here. But this is now independent enough to run anywhere. Okay, so either you have you take my image and run on the Linux, you take on this image and run on the Windows. It's fine. So there is no dependency here because everything is clubbed in this image. Okay, how we can use? Okay, let's go to again the Azure portal, and I'm using now, just now you have seen the PowerShell command. Now I'll just see here bash command. Now I'll switch to bash. Okay, as we have seen, there is a command. What this command does, AZ group. So we are creating a resource group, okay, with the name training RG1. Okay, location will be East US. So this is the resource group which has been created. Just if I'll refresh, I can see here. Okay, training RG1, we got it here. There is nothing inside that. Okay, now we'll use this container image. Okay, I'll just copy my image name from here. I'll put it here. AZ container create application name will be, we are creating a container out of that image. The container name will be the Shadab sample 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be the image, and inside this resource group, and we'll be getting out one public address. Okay, let's wait for some time. Okay, so this is what it has been created. You have got one public IP here. You can just make it bigger. So this is creating a container. Okay, so there will be event, and this is the port 80 TCP port. Okay, and you got some memory allocated, CPU allocated by default on those, and port 80 has been opened, and East US, name of the application, all those things you got. You got one public IP associated with that. Okay, this is the public IP we got. What has been created inside this resource group? This has been created a container instance. Okay, I can go and access this public IP directly. You can see here, welcome to Docker. So this is the application which I have created from the Visual Studio. I have pushed this application to the Docker registry, okay, Docker Hub, that image, and then I have used this image to deploy our application in the Azure portal. And I am able to access this application. So these are the things which we can do with the Docker. And so any doubt in the Docker before going to the slide?
The Docker will also cover in exam, or it's for learning purpose?
Docker, small steps are there, not much. Yeah, but Docker, this Docker Hub and Azure Container Registry gives you similar feature actually. Okay, if the Docker, more question will come from the Azure Container Registry here. Okay, so you can see here container registry. Okay, I can deploy this application in the container registry as well. If I go to publish, okay, I can put this into the Docker container Azure Container Registry. Okay, so I need to create a first container registry, then I can publish it. So what happens here? We'll go to the slide and we'll see. Uh, Here you have the Docker and then Docker container. Okay, so an instance of the Docker image will be the container, and then container image, unit of the software running, and then you have the build, pull, push, which you have created, Docker file, and registry. Okay, these are the features. Okay, this says that whatever we have did with Radish cache, there is saying that you can pull the Ubuntu image, Microsoft SQL image. So all those images you have, you can pull it and you can use those. Okay. Uh, Creating container image in the Docker file. Okay, so these are the some commands which is saying about the Docker. So you should be knowing these commands minimum. Okay, so pull, push, copy, run, what to do. So these commands you should be knowing those things. Okay, next it talks about the Azure Container Registry. Okay, so Azure Container Registry also it's similar kind of thing which you get from the Docker. Okay, so what Azure Container Registry, like you can manage your images into the Azure Container Registry. So this is the Microsoft product which you get. Okay, so either you can store your images in the Azure Container Registry or the Docker Hub. Okay, so these are the two features you get. Again, if you want to talk, just use the Docker registry. You can use the. It gives you actually integration with the multiple application. Okay, so you can use the Azure App Services, Batch, Azure Service Fabric, and Kubernetes. So actually, you can use these images to create your microservices as well. Okay. And this is giving the option like your registry is been like it's a repository of your images. Okay, you have the image repository created and you pull those images to create your container. So these are your images. Similar thing, we had a Docker image. Now you have the Azure Container Registry, so which will be having the repository of your image. You pull those image and you just deploy. So you are independent with your host OS. Host OS should only support a container. That's the only the requirement which you have. Again, in the doc, if you go ahead and create Azure Container Registry, you have the option to choose a basic, standard, and premium plan. Okay, if I go here and create Azure Container Registry, you can select day 5 AKS registry. Okay, so you have here you have again your choice for basic, standard, premium. Okay, so here it's giving the ideal use for learning purpose. You can create a basic, then you have a standard, and then you have premium for the production workload, which you can use. So this is just storing your image in the Azure Container Registry. So these are the again some of the PowerShell command which you have to go through those. Okay, again you have the Azure Container Registry build. Okay, so this is again used to build, used as a build pipeline. Okay, so here what you get a feature like let's go to the diagram. Okay, so let's suppose that you have the Azure Container Registry build and you have the build agent running, and then you deploy your registry into the another application. So this is giving you the feature to build your application. Like in your DevOps, you have the build pipeline created. So similar thing, you can use Azure Container Registry. Okay, and you can use your build agent to run your build and deploy your application out of that. So that also you can explore those things. Azure Container Instance. Okay, so here you get again features like number of container which you have to create. You can create out of that. The simple way to run a container in Azure. Okay, so this gives you the feature like you can fastest provision the application, or you can build or deploy application, task automation. So those you can achieve with the Azure Container Instance. Okay, so if you want to spin up your more application with your container, you can do it faster. So it's not like that you need to create something VM. You just take your image and deploy on any application, any like OS. Okay, so this is the group, like you have one DNS created out that talks on the port 80. You have the web application, and then you have the container deploy. Okay, so this is the way which you can talk on the Azure container. Like for example, like you have a single host machine. Okay, and you are assigning the DNS name onto that, and then you expose your single IP address with outside the outside. So you are exposing port 80 to the outside of world. Okay, but if you go inside the container, it talks to the another container 1443. So this is like your database container which has been hosted. So this container actually talks to 1443. Okay, and then it also talks to Azure files, and then it's returns. So these are the group of containers you can deploy inside, and then it will be only you have the one outside facing the port, and that actually talks in to your database and Azure files. Again, this is the container instance features which you get. Okay, so fast startup time, you will be having public IP connectivity and DNS, hypervisor level security. These are the some of the features which is the coming with your container. This is again how to deploy your container registry using the PowerShell command. So these are the things are there. So again, you have one more thing like Kubernetes. You might have heard. So what this is another slide which I have. So these are the only which Microsoft gives. This is the additional slide which I have. So what is a container? Container is like you deploy. We'll get an overview that container and how that means. So here you get like Kubernetes. You might have heard that Kubernetes, Docker, OpenShift. So these are which you'll get from the container. And Docker is like you doesn't have the hypervisor here. Okay, directly it runs on the host OS, and you have your bundle your operating system out of that. Okay, so these are simple concept which we have. This is the Docker architecture. Okay, so it's common for the either it's you can say Docker, or you have the Azure Kubernetes services. Okay, so you have the Docker host, there'll be Docker server and Docker client. So it will be talking to the Docker server, and you deploy those as a part of container. Just not much in that. I'll just give you one more lab from this. Okay. So this is the lab which is associated with this infrastructure services. Okay, so you will come to know something with the command line interface and those things. Azure CLI, you will be coming to know, you'll be creating resource group and the virtual machine from the command. So it's a simple step which you can follow, and you can create your virtual machine and you can deploy it. Okay. It talks about the Azure Container Instance as well. One more thing which I'll just show it here. Actually, I already talked in this initial thing. Okay, this is the architecture. Generally, when you sometimes people ask you how you will design your application and using the virtual machine. So you can say here there'll be a virtual network. In the virtual network, there'll be a public facing IP which will be associated with the application gateway, and then your application gateway talks to your web layer, and web layer again will have the load balancer which will balance your web like services, and then services will have the load balancer which goes to the SQL server. Okay, and the SQL server will have some data associated with that, so storage account or anything. So these are the architecture which generally if you talk, but it's very like you can say heavy architecture, you can say, or just talk about the virtual machine and those things. So those you can bifurcate, or if you don't have any dependency old application, so you can go with the PaaS as well. So this architecture can be converted in the PaaS as well. So but yeah, if the you have existing application which you want to lift and shift to the Azure, so this can be used. Okay, so this is the one architecture which I want to cover it. Anything which you want to ask out of that? I'll share this slide to you. I'll upload and I'll share you. You can go through this command, and that will be good, I think. So have you understood all the concept or anything pending which I should take it?
Yes, Shadab, it was clear. Yeah. Maybe we can come up some of the questions if we have anything. Yeah. Next.
Correct. Anything else from anyone?
It is clear, Shadab. And one more question is, can we access the Docker through SDK as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any helper for that one?
I don't have as of now, but if I'll just create something and I'll give it to you if you want.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So this Docker image, just you have to pull those image and you can deploy. So it's as simple like this is just image. It's available. Okay, and anyone can use it. It's publicly available. You can also just run this command and you can use my application in your app, like your VM or any web application. Also, if you go ahead and create a web app also ask that if you want to create from the Docker, you can create that. So this available is there are so many Docker images are available from all this like SQL Server if you go or anything. So that is available.
Can we run the application in Docker Hub? Is there any possibility? like we are viewing the pages?
No, this you will not running in the Docker Hub. There is you okay. What is Docker Hub? I'll just if you talk about Docker concept, they'll like see this is the Docker Hub, okay, and you'll be having the image inside that, okay. So you should have a Docker server to run the container. Okay, your container will be created and running on the Docker server. So there are some topics which you should know, like there is a Docker client. So whatever the command I'm running, that CLI command, that is a Docker client. Okay, there is a Docker server. So this is a daemon. Okay, so where your Docker is running, the Docker server is responsible for creating a life cycle. Okay, and then you have the Docker object and then Docker Hub. Docker Hub is a software as services which store your Docker container registry. So this is your this is giving me something like free, but when you start creating a private repository, it will not allow. So you might have to purchase some plan here, so that will allow. So this is a software as a services platform which gives you. Similar thing, when you create a Docker container registry in Azure, you will be end up of paying some of the amount here because you will be storing some files and registry in the Docker container registry. So you will be charged something here. So this is, or you can say like SaaS platform, software services, and where you will be paying some amount and you will be storing your images here. So this is image management, you can say Docker Hub. And
It
Docker
is like
server,
a repository only. It is not
correct, repository only. Yes, correct, of course. And to connect the Docker, you should have a Docker client, and then you have a Docker server, which will be daemon where you will be your application will be running. Okay, so there'll be always one host OS will be there. On top of that, you will be having creating a container, and container will have your everything clubbed together. Okay, so I have bundled in this .NET Core application. I have bundled my image, my application, and the dependency, and that can float anywhere in the any operating system. And this is the one of the good way to create your microservices as well. Okay, so you don't have to do, or anytime when client want to shift from Microsoft to like AWS, they can directly take this image and go ahead and deploy in AWS. So it's very easy for the client as well, and just it's one-time development. You don't have to rewrite the code or anything you have to do. There is something called, told you about Kubernetes. Okay, what is Kubernetes? This is like a orchestrator tool. You can go ahead and create here. You have the Kubernetes services. We are not covering here. I'm just want to show you. So what is this Kubernetes? Actually, this Kubernetes gives you a feature to orchestrate your Docker container. Okay, Azure Kubernetes Services is a hosted Kubernetes environment, makes it quick and easy to deploy, manage containerized application. So I have just now created one containerized application. Okay, which we have browsed here. So this container image will be orchestrated by the Kubernetes. Kubernetes will be responsible for managing all those things. So you'll be creating YAML file, and YAML file will manage all this server. Okay, managing multiple containers within one server, deploying, scaling, monitoring, networking. So all those things you can achieve with the Kubernetes. So there is another something called Kubernetes, and then you have the service fabric. So your container can be deployed in the Kubernetes and service fabric, and which can be orchestrated by the Kubernetes and service fabric to run your container in the different server and manage those container, spin up those container. So that can be done. Okay, so that is the another term which you'll be understanding. So Docker is your containerized platform. What is image? Image is app plus dependency you'll be having. Then container is your instance of image. Docker CLI is your command line tool. You have the Docker server where you can create, run, manage your image. Docker Hub is image repository, and container is like orchestrated tool, Kubernetes so that you can manage it. So this is the keywords you should understand. Hope I have cleared your doubt.
Yes.
Okay, similar thing applies to the Azure Container Registry as well. So you, instead of Docker, you can use Azure Container Registry, and you can deploy over there. You can manage with the CLI, and then you build and deploy all those applications from the Azure Container Registry, and then you use Kubernetes and to manage all those things, so that you can do it. So that's it for today. So actually here what you got in VM, you get everything like you got underlying hardware, underlying infrastructure, everything you got, and you are managing all those things, so that you have achieved here. Okay, this was not coming that time. I just wanted to show the topology of that single virtual machine, how it works. So here you can see here one VM is there. This was I covered initially in the diagram. So this is your public IP, this is your NSG, this is your your card, your chip, small chip. So whenever the request comes in the public IP and it goes to the your NIC, network interface card talks to the NSG talks to the infrastructure. If it's rules are defined, then it will be here. So you have the subnet and VNet defined here. So this is the complete infrastructure. You have the underlying hardware, everything you can do. You can deploy, you can create your application, you can deploy your SQL. You have everything excelled here. But what you get in the container, you club one thing and you spin up those as a container. So you don't have the underlying infrastructure. When you go with the Kubernetes, then you are able to manage the infrastructure, but you don't have the access of your underlying hardware and everything. So you just create your app container and float that container, and it's independent. So that you get virtual machine versus, you can say, your Docker container or anything. Yeah, so that's it for today. If you have any question, we can just take up those and then we can close. Okay. So if you have not question, we'll close the call for today. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Shadab. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Shadab, for your time.
Good night.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.